Hug Watch is on for one of the most dominant players in our sport. This is video from yesterday's afternoon outing for Tarik Skubal. Dominant, successful, gets removed, team's up 7-zip. They lost. They were up 7-zip in the 7th, by the way. It was a tie game by the 8th. But the ovation was awesome here, AJ. It was also a day when he had his 1,000th strikeout. That was when we were on. And then after we departed from our show at our usual time, Tigers blew the game. We've basically found out since, like, he's a lock to be traded. So there's a lot going on in Detroit right now. That's why I'm wearing Tiger Territory shirt.
Yeah, but I mean, he also gave up 3. I mean, the bullpen gave up 3. So he, it was a little bit on Tarik. He pitched good, but not great. But he, the bullpen came in and put gas on the flame. But he did pitch really well the first 6 innings. But you're up, like that in a big league game. You should win that game, and they did not. And that just sums up why they're going to trade him.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a big emotional swing, Kratz. And actually for the Orioles, they're like desperately trying to show their front office that they still belong. So it was a huge comeback win for them.
I think they've been playing a little bit better recently. They're scoring a lot of runs, probably a little too late. But yeah, I mean, as much as you want Tarik Skubal to get traded or you don't want him to get traded, this game swung it in whichever direction it was going to go.
Yeah, exactly. It was
an awesome one. And it was awesome, though. The ovation was really good. He got his 1,000th strikeout. They had the big sign in center field showing how many strikeouts he had. But the fans were pretty awesome. The fans probably aren't going to be very happy today when they wake up and they realize that more than likely Tarik Skubal is going to be a Milwaukee Brewer.
AJ Hinch let him in, too. He came out and had a meeting with him, and he was like, all right, you can get one more hitter. And the guy got a base hit up the middle, and then they took him out.
The one thing I don't like is like, oh, well, we're still going to try. We'll get to it. I could just mention it real quick right now. They're going to call up Max Clark this week. And great. I mean, I'm all for calling up a guy if you feel like he's ready. The timing is definitely interesting. They claim that's not what it is. Okay. Either way, that's fine. Here's my question. If you're trading Skubal, you should trade Casey Mize too, right? He's had a really nice year. Like, don't act like, oh, well, this is just because we have to get something for Skubal, but we still think we can win a World Series this year. Like, trade your assets at the deadline. Your short-term assets.
I think he's sneaky underrated because he's always overshadowed by Skubal.
The problem with Casey Mize is he's been hurt a lot, and he's been basically a 5-inning guy a lot of his career. I think that's the one thing you worry about with Casey Mize if you're another team. Now, do I think he could help a team? 1,000,000% he could help a team. And the Max Clark thing getting called up, I mean, I looked at his numbers. Yeah, he's doing all right. He's doing okay. But I think he's hot right now, so they want to take advantage of that, and that's just the way to make people say, oh, look, the Tigers are going to trade Skubal, but look what they have coming in the future, guys. They have Max Clark.
And Casey Mize, I mean, do you want Clay Holmes just coming off an injury or Casey Mize littered with injuries?
Yeah, agreed. I'm not saying that either one is the right choice. It just depends on what you want. But I mean, Casey Mize has had a nice run here, but not. He's not. I don't think Casey Mize, and this I don't mean this anything against Casey Mize, but I don't think he's an franchise altering guy. Maybe it's not the right way to put it, but it seems like the right way to put it.
But I think he fits. But I think he fits into the realm of you look at the Phillies and you go, okay, they need a 5th starter. Does he become that 5th starter guy with maybe more of an upside than, say, a Michael Lorenzen if he was available? You know what I mean? Like, there's
100%. He fits that perfectly.
An intriguing piece.
He fits that perfectly. He could be a 3 for a lot of teams out there. He could be a 3 and start a playoff
but not
game,
no
doubt, for the Phillies. Not the Phillies because they have the 3 big ones at the top. But I mean, for most teams, he's probably starting a playoff game.
Casey Mize would start a playoff game for many teams, yeah.
Although last year for Detroit, they were like, one time through the lineup, we got to get him out, if you remember.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it was like, oh, we can't wait to get Casey Mize out of the game.
That's part of their style too, though, right? Like, they're very tempted to go to their controlled chaos, the Tigers, which works.
How to work it? Does it?
Works for a round or so.
Yeah. I mean,
the argument would be, well, the Tigers, they had Detroit, they had Skubal. But the one series they won, Skubal, did he lose 2 or did he lose the first one and then they ended up still coming back and winning?
Yeah, they lost some starts. Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah, but
Skubal
also
wasn't
let's not forget they
perfect.
had Skubal in Game 5 against the Mariners and didn't win that game. Not because of anything Skubal did. They lost the game because they couldn't hit, right? And they went 15 innings and couldn't score a run, and they struck out like 30 times in that game. I forget. I don't have my score sheet in front of me, but they lost because they couldn't hit. It wasn't because Tarik Skubal did anything wrong. I think he gave him 6 innings with like 1 run and left for the lead.
But hey, their hitters are supposed to get better. It's a year. They're a year older.
They are a year older. Every time you're older, you should be better. Just general thought in life. Also, AJ's still broadcasting that game. But yes, it was not Skubal's fault. It was a long game.
It was a great game. So many twists and turns in that game.
It's still one of my favorite broadcasts too. You guys were great. All right, let's charge.
Charging the mound.
We do have one little itty bitty trade. The Angels send Logan O'Hoppe and Chase Silseth over to the Texas Rangers. O'Hoppe immediately gets optioned. He's had a tough year. Silseth has been pretty good in the bullpen. He's got multiple years of control. Let me bring one interesting part into the equation because I think we all respect him greatly for his overall baseball knowledge and for his prospect knowledge. So JJ Cooper has been tweeting about this trade confused. That's not a good sign when one of the most renowned prospect experts in the sport is going out on a limb to be like, the one player they got in return, Angel Arredondo, and this is no slight on him, I don't know him, did not rank in the Rangers' top 30, according to Baseball America, at the time of the trade. Sometimes when a trade happens, this is JJ's quote, you check with sources to make sure you don't miss something on a guy who should have been ranked. We've checked. This does not appear to be one of those times. AJ, does that mean Arredondo might not be a big league contributor? No, but generally the industry looks at prospects in at least a close enough realm to be like, oh, I could see somebody liking this guy. When JJ goes out on a limb like that, it's a little bit questionable given the history of the Angels with trades.
Yeah, I don't know what this was. This doesn't make sense from in the division. I mean, okay, you want to get rid of O'Hoppe, fine. But the Silseth one, he's having a pretty good year and he's young. So I don't know. I don't understand unless John Mozeliak is just saying, hey, we're going to get rid of everybody because we have stunk for so long. And maybe finally Artie Moreno has allowed it. But I don't understand it from that side of if you're going to give away one of your guys that's been pretty decent for you. I have to relook at Silseth's numbers, but they're pretty good. It's not like this was a piece. What's that?
A few too many walks.
Okay,
I mean,
so
as
what?
far as a guy, but his other numbers are really good. His other numbers are really good.
I mean, he's got a 2.72 with a, 48 strikeouts and 39 innings. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, the 22 walks you can live with, but I mean, he's pretty good to give away. And he's got years of control. That's the thing that gets me.
I don't totally get it, and I'm not a big top 30 for the organization. Let's pump the brakes. If we're doing top 30 for an organization, we're ranking the 900 players in the minor leagues. Each team, it's okay if it's not, but he's not even in the top 30, the guy they're getting back. It's weird because you look at bullpen pieces, and I would say Silseth's probably that third tier down available, but still you would think you'd get a little bit more. And it's been a tough road to hoe for Logan O'Hoppe. And for a guy that works really hard, you want to see him bounce back, and it gives the Rangers a little bit of depth because Higashioka's out, and now they're going with Elias Diaz and Austin
Jansen has been out too. They don't know if he's coming back. Too.
Correct, yeah.
So the Rangers are going to do some things, as they should. They've had a nice little stretch lately. They're involved. I mean, they're recognizing an opportunity here too, AJ. So they won the World Series in 2023, right? 24 and 25, They couldn't hit. They still did try at each trade deadline. They tried to push a little bit this offseason with an acquisition like Mackenzie Gore, right? And still, the team looks kind of similar to the past couple of years. They look okay, not great, but they're still going to add. And wait, the difference this year is the division kind of sucks.
Kind of sucks? It doesn't suck. It doesn't kind of suck. It just sucks. We don't need to sugarcoat that. The division sucks. And what's amazing is the Astros, as much as we've talked and said, oh, the Astros stink this year, I think they're a game out of first place or something crazy, right? Because The Mariners, a team we all thought pretty much everybody, it was a consensus across baseball. The Mariners are going to be the best team in that division. They're going to win it going away. Well, they have completely failed to capitalize on this division. And there's where you look at it. I mean, the Astros at 500 are one game out, and the Mariners just that's future for the team that we thought they would have, right? So I think that's it. The Rangers are saying, hey, if we can get in and we have Evaldi, DeGrom, we can figure out Mackenzie Gore, get a couple bullpen pieces, we get Seager, Langford, and Young back swinging it, we have a chance to maybe do some damage in American League. Again, that sucks. The American League is not very good.
They're starting to swing it a little bit better. They're starting to swing it a little bit better at home. They've had a few games where they scored a few more runs at home, and you know what? CY tries to make moves where he can. He doesn't like that they're not running away with the division, but he does not like missing out on the playoffs by one game either, because he knows anything can happen in the playoffs, which I think is an advantage. I think some teams are like, nah, the playoffs are a crapshoot. And I think players go, anything can happen.
By the way, you said they're swinging the bat better at home. Do something for me and look at the numbers at home ballpark of the Rangers. It started out as extreme hitting ballpark. Now it's actually turned into, extreme pitching ballpark. Now it's actually turned into almost a hitter's ballpark. It's weird over the last couple of months. I don't know if they've just started hitting better or what, but it is crazy if you look at the numbers.
That's weird. You mean like a ball could travel differently at the same exact ballpark that is controlled climate, except you can control how balls travel? Wait,
hold up.
Happen?
Are we talking white baseball or brown baseball? Which baseball are
yellow.
we talking about?
It's yellow.
The yellow
from
baseball,
the oil.
sorry. Yellow.
Humidor has nothing to do with it. Don't look. Don't look now. Humidor sometimes gets turned off in Atlanta, and they have the 2 longest home runs on the season in Atlanta. But don't worry about that. It doesn't happen.
It doesn't matter. Just watch the game. Don't pay attention to anything else. No conspiracy theories, please. Okay, let's show Alden Gonzalez tweets to finish up what we think the Angels will do the rest of the way here. Alden said, in recent weeks, rival execs have said dealing with the Angels front office has been completely different for one reason. They listen. They're open. They talk about controllable players. I'm adding this part, like Chase Silseth. Here's the next tweet from Alden. We'll know far more about their direction based on what they do with the likes of Reed Detmers, Jose Soriano, and Zach Neto. But it seems Artie Moreno is letting John Mozeliak do what he thinks is best. And that in and itself would be a shift. Okay. That's good. Wow. It's a good sign. This team never trades the guys at the right time, AJ. It's not just making bad trades, which this one was questioned for the prospect return. How about just making the trades at all versus holding your guys and never giving your self a chance to actually reload? Like, look at the Mets, right? The Mets spend a ton of money. They freaking stink this year. They're going to trade like 10 guys. Why? Because they're not in it, and you got to reload and get prospects when you're not going to win this year, and it's very clear cut, 0% chance of making the playoffs. Angels have not done that in the past consistently. Maybe they do it now.
They always hold on to guys. I mean, we can start with Shohei, right? What did we say forever? They should have traded Shohei. They should have traded Trout, but obviously Trout can't be traded. But this has been the thing. Artie Moreno has always said, "Oh no, we're not going to trade anybody because we're so close to being good." Except they haven't been good for ever.
Yeah, but this is like Artie Moreno has been the one that's been like, "Hey, no, we're not going to." But at least they're listening. Like the listening part. If you never listened before on players, how would you ever know like where you're at? How would you ever know if you're getting the right or if you're evaluating your guys the correct way? To me, I think it's something that's a huge shift. Maybe now that Alden tweeted that out, maybe Artie Moreno's like, wait a minute, what's Mo doing? What's John Mozeliak doing? Like, does he know that we're still trying to put butts in seats and I don't look ahead very well in the future?
Mo's got dirt in his spikes. He can talk back in a way that I'm sure Perry Minasian couldn't. That's a fact, right? Perry's first time on a job like that. Mo's like, I've done this for a long time. I've won. He can probably bite a little bit harder on a phone call.
Or is it Molly Jolly?
Either way, whatever it is,
I mean, that's
the
huge
group
too.
Now can talk back a little bit differently. right? And they also have to, I mean, if they want Mozeliak to be part of this long term and think he's going to be helpful, then you're on the clock on this side too. If you just say
Do they
no to
want
him
him to
on
be?
everything, I don't
Do
know.
they
But if
want
they
him?
do, well, they wanted him to be here. So I'm saying, AJ, if they do that, they're going to be nice to him and say, all right, we're open to hearing what you have to say.
No, I agree, but I just don't know that they want. I mean, I haven't heard that they, I mean, Mozeliak might not want that either. So if you really want him to be, you have to be nice to him in order for him to not only if they want him, but he has to want to stay. Because when I talked to
Agreed.
Mozeliak last time, he was like, I don't even know if I want. He's like, I want to take some time off, and then I look up and whammy, he's with the Angels again.
His version of
That's-
time off is not the same as our version of time off.
That's time
Apparently
off.
not.
That's time off. Mike Rizzo was like, yeah, I'm kind of ready to get back in a little bit. Maybe it's too much time off for different guys, but like Artie's going to want guys that are up in the big leagues because he's not going to want to put the money into the minor league system. Now, Mo allowed the Cardinals minor league system to kind of get behind in the times. So maybe Mo's pitch to Artie was, I don't need to put money into the minor league system because I know, like I said, plenty of times on here, I know somebody that Artie wanted to hire, and his reasoning was the guy that he wanted to hire said, okay, I'll do it, but we have to do this in the minor leagues to truly make a winner, truly make an organization. And Artie said, no, thanks. You're not my guy.
We'll see what they do. A few days to go until the trade deadline. Halo territory is all over what the Angels will be doing. And if there are significant assets that they're going to actually trade away and your team ends up with them, it's worth a listen to get their thoughts on what someone like Reed Detmers or Jose Soriano or Zach Neto can bring to the table. Subscribe to it wherever you get your pods on the listening side and right here on YouTube. If you're watching us, you already know we're wearing Mack Weldon right now as we talk about a great brand that makes things so comfortable and easy to wear. But if you're listening to the show, let me tell you a little bit more about Mack Weldon with my friend Erik Kratz.
Yeah, it's comfortable. It's light. It's summertime right now. For me, though, they cater to what I need, tall clothes. Normally when I buy tall clothes, it's like something that's cumbersome and boxy. It still fits incredibly well, super light, perfect for the summertime. They got me all covered.
Comfortable performance material can be yours. Mack Weldon is the spot. Don't sweat the heat this summer. Feel as effortlessly cool as you look with Mack Weldon. Go to mackweldon.com and get 20% off your first order of $125 or more with promo code FOUL. That's MACKWELDON.com, code FOUL. ESPN's Jorge Castillo joining us right now. Jorge, thank you for the time. Nice article just put out there. 2026 MLB trade deadline. Ideal moves for the Yankees and the Mets. This is a great way to get these two fan bases excited on different ends of the spectrum. So let's start with the Yankees. Can you lay out what your ideal plan was for them? Because I think they'd be very excited talking about Yanks fans.
Yeah, man, it's the way to get them excited or pissed at you, one or the other. It's fans tend to get angry nowadays with all the rumors and stuff. But trying to feed the beast. I mean, at this point of the year, we're just trying to gather as much intel as we can. Obviously, on the team side, the agent side, they want to share what they want to share at this point, right? There are moves that are going to happen between now and Monday that are just like out of left field. When the Mead for Connolly early deal came out of nowhere, and that was a huge deal. So, based on what I gathered, what I've talked, when talking to people. Mason Miller was number one. Again, this is ideal, right? I think that the Yankees are looking to upgrade their bullpen. Their bullpen has been one of the best in baseball since June 1st, the best in baseball by most metrics. You got Fernando Cruz, you got Brent Hedrick, Paul Blackburn as that bridge to David Bednar. Now, how do you improve that? I mean, Mason Miller is the best reliever, best closer in baseball, and best closer, and I don't know, maybe since Mariano Rivera at this point. So I think just getting a guy like that and having Bednar move to the eighth inning, then you move those other guys down in the pecking order makes that bullpen all the better. And Mason Miller obviously has 3 years of control after this year. And Brian Cashman, one of his things in recent years, he loves acquiring guys at the deadline with control beyond that season. He does not go for rentals often. Ahmed Rosario was the rare one-off last year, but if you look at the guys he got last year, Camilo Doval, David Bednar, Jake Bird, Ryan McMahon, Jose Caballero, those guys all had control. Jazz Chisholm a couple years ago, Mark Leiter Jr. a couple years ago. So he prefers guys with control. Which leads me to number two, a guy who does not have control beyond this year, Ryan Jeffers. And it's very obvious that the Yankees need a catcher. They've had among like them and the White Sox, I think, had the worst production behind the plate offensively. Austin Wells has been a huge disappointment. It started off with him and JC Escara. Now it's been Ali Sanchez behind the plate alongside Wells against lefties. And they need a right-handed hitting catcher. Ryan Jeffers has made sense forever since the offseason. I've been writing it. He makes a ton of sense for them. The Twins say they don't want to sell. They're going for it. But Ryan, they can do both. They can trade Ryan Jeffers and add to the bullpen, which has been a huge problem for the Twins this season. Ryan Jeffers has been one of the best catchers when he's been healthy this year. And the Twins have the most runs scored in the American League, and they haven't had Ryan Jeffers for most of the season. So maybe they think, hey, we can trade him and add to the bullpen. And then lastly, I put Zach Neto in there. It can be any sort of impact right-handed bat. The Yankees are going through it right now offensively without Aaron Judge, obviously, but also without Giancarlo Stanton and recently Cody Bellinger. It can be a right-handed hitting outfielder. It could be a shortstop like a Zach Neto who, would cost a lot. You guys were just talking about the Angels. Maybe the Angels are more willing to trade controllable guys like a Zach Neto. But that price would be steep. But I think the Yankees are looking for another right-handed hitting bat beyond the catcher.
All right. Let's start with this. First of all, Brian Cashman usually doesn't make huge trades in the middle of the season. So, okay, fine. Let's say he does. Mason Miller, 100% makes sense. But you want to know why Yankee fans are going to be pissed off at you? Because Anthony Volpe and Austin Wells are the future of the Yankees, and you have them losing their jobs. So that is why the Yankee fans are going to be pissed off at you. Not because these trades all make sense, but because those guys have been basically the two guys that the Yankees have talked about for years and years being the next core. Yes, have they performed? No. But at the end of the day, you're trying to get rid of them out of jobs, Jorge. So therefore, Yankee fans are going to hate you for life.
Hey man, I'm sensitive. This is one thing about reporting nowadays, and this week with the trade rumors and all that. You're sensitive to the fact. I know it's a joking matter about Volpe and Wells, but you are sensitive to the fact these guys have lives. They have to upend their lives, they have families and stuff, and you're throwing these guys in rumors like they're just not people. So that is tough part of the job, in my opinion. Maybe I sympathize a little too much in that regard, but hey, the Yankees, Wells has been disappointing. Volpe's actually been pretty good in his role against lefties this year, and he's been pretty good defensively since he came up and off the injured list and from the minors. So maybe the Yankees don't view that as a huge issue right now, but I think it's an area they could upgrade.
How aggressive can the Yankees actually be if they truly believe the imaging that they get or don't get, or we don't know what's happening with Judge? If they believe on August 1st that Judge is not coming back, how do they make a super aggressive move to win the World Series?
Yeah, that's a huge, just $1 million question right now. Is Aaron Judge coming back? And the Yankees keep saying that they're hopeful that he will come back. And if he does come back, this is a window for the Yankees. Garrett Cole has looked awesome coming back from TJ. I don't remember a guy looking that good that soon coming off TJ. He's looking like Garrett Cole right now, and he's in his mid-30s. And Aaron Judge is 34 years old. And if he does come back, how big is this window for the Yankees with this group, with two future Hall of Famers? I think they have to maximize this window. Now, the Yankees will say, hey, our window is always open. We're the New York Yankees. But it's not very often you have one of the best, I don't know, if Garrett Cole at his peak, when he's at the top of his game, top 5, top 10 pitchers in baseball. Aaron Judge, best hitter in baseball when he's going. So I think you have to be a little aggressive. This is not a typical year, in my opinion. You don't know if there's going to be baseball next year on top of that. So if there is no baseball next year, Aaron Judge is 36 years old on the other side. Garrett Cole is 37, 38. So I think the Yankees, this could be a unique year where the Yankees say, hey, let's go for it. Let's really go for it. I mean, now Brian Cashman he acquired 7 guys at the trade deadline last year. They weren't huge names, but he really changed that roster, that bullpen, the bench. This year, I think they can go a little bigger. Now, the question is, are they willing to trade George Lombard Jr.? I don't think they are, which means that maybe Mason Miller doesn't come to the Bronx, because if they're not willing to trade George Lombard Jr., I bet you some other teams out there are willing to trade their top prospects for a guy like that.
Well, that leads to my question is, do the Yankees have enough to do all these things that you're talking about? Spencer Jones hasn't been the player that the Yankees hyped him up to be, right? What other pieces do they have if they're not willing to trade a Lombard for these pieces? Do they have enough in their farm system? I know everyone hypes up the Yankees prospect. He's a Yankee prospect. He's got to be great. They're one of the best teams at it. But do they actually have enough players in the minor leagues to get all these moves done? Because it's a lot of moves, and it's impact moves that you listed here.
Yeah, I don't think you can just look at it as the minor league guys, just the prospects. The Yankees are willing to trade from their major league roster. And that includes, obviously, you mentioned Spencer Jones, who's right now in the big leagues, hit a 3-run home run last night against the White Sox. Jason Dominguez is
They
still,
lost.
yeah, they did lose. That was a tough loss, the way that ended. That Jason Dominguez is still young. It seems like he's been around forever, but he hasn't been, and he has injuries. He's had to stop and start a lot, in his career between injuries and starting the year in the minor leagues and killing it there in AAA, coming up, crashing into the wall, hurting his shoulder, going back on the IL. So those are two guys. There's obviously the guys in the minor leagues, but it's also, hey, Will Warren, Ryan Weathers. Could those guys be on the move? Because starting pitching is always this time of year, everyone's looking for starting pitching. Those guys are two controllable starting pitchers. The Yankees have a surplus on paper of starting pitching. That rotation is, when healthy, when Carlos Rodon comes back, if and when he comes back, there's not going to be room for all those guys. So at some point, Brian Cashman, I imagine, is thinking, okay, maybe we trade from this to make it, upgrade, whether it's behind the plate, in the bullpen, shortstop, wherever it may be. So I think you have to add that. You have to add that they do have few major leaguers who they can add in trades that aren't really part of the plans here for the remainder of the season. Because if Cody Bellinger and Aaron Judge come back, Spencer Jones is not on the major league roster. Jason Dominguez is not playing very much. If you add Giancarlo Stanton, even less so. So I think there are moves to be. There are pieces to move from the big league roster.
There would be pieces to move if not everybody was hurt. Don't they need to address at the trade deadline the Cody Bellinger injury? Because that's on top of the Aaron Judge, and now you have these quote-unquote star prospects from the minor leagues kind of being mid in the big leagues. Don't they have to address that? Don't they have to get like a Dalton Varsho to be able to run around in center field for, I get it, he's left-handed, but there's not a lot of right-handed hitting. Don't they need that to solidify what they lost in Cody and have lost since essentially May in Judge?
Yeah, I think for that third one where I put Neto, I think you could put Taylor Ward there or someone like him or Lane Thomas or, I know those aren't the biggest names, but they would help. And they would help bridge this time without Judge and Bellinger and Stanton. I do think that's a possibility. Maybe it is on top of someone else who could play shortstop. I mean, again, that's a lot. I think they go for one or the other. There are options out there on the market, whether it's controllable guys, rentals. That's something that they could do. But yeah, the offense is going through it right now just because of those injuries. It's kind of all at once here. But the Yankees do seem confident that those guys are going to come back. So how willing are you to give up guys that could help you out in the future, for these next 4 to 6 weeks, 2 months, to bridge you to October? That is a question that I don't know the answer to, frankly. I just know the areas that they're looking at and the potential people that are available, both on the Yankee side and in the market.
All right. Well, what about the more exciting team? The team that's been not so good in New York, the Mets. What is the wish list that you see happening or should happen for the Mets to get better, but also, reset here at the trade deadline?
Yeah. So the thing with the Mets is, all right, they're going to sell. Obviously, they're one of the few declared sellers right now. Like for sure, 100%. We're not messing around. We're not going to pretend. We're selling. The thing is with the Mets is they're trying to win next year. This is a team that still has Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor and, AJ Ewing and Carson Bench have looked really good as rookies in the outfield this year. You got Nolan McLean. They're trying to win next year. Steve Cohen is not trying to punt on 2027. He's not going to do that. He's trying to win. So you got to balance that. Now, the wish list I came up with, number one, you unload all those guys that are about to be free agents because they're not going to be on the team next year, most likely. It starts with Freddie Peralta, Luis Robert Jr., who came back off the injury list. He's hit 2 home runs, hasn't done much else. But right-handed hitting, guy who could play center field, guys always want that. The Mets might have to pay that down a little bit. He's not going to get much in terms of prospects. You trade him, you trade Clay Holmes, you trade Tyrone Taylor, who's been hot at the plate. as of late since coming off the injured list. You trade, I mean, off the top of my head, I'm forgetting already who all the free agents that they have, but the two lefties, Brooks Raley, AJ Minter. And then you got Clay Holmes, to me, who's like their best trade piece. Clay Holmes is a guy who, before he took that comebacker from Spencer Jones at Citi Field, had a 2.39 ERA and 9 starts. He was really good. He was coming into his own in his second year back, as a starting pitcher after being, all-star reliever with the Yankees. So I think he's someone who's going to have he has a huge market. So I think trading him and converting that into whatever prospects you can is imperative. The number 2 on my list, getting a big return for two relievers, two controllable relievers. Huascar Braziban has been really good this season. He's also 36 years old, like low key. Like you don't really think about Braziban being 36. You feel like he just came on the scene because he debuted at 32 years old. But he's controllable for 3 years beyond this one. And then you got Luke Weaver, who here in New York, both sides know him very well. He's, came onto the scene, burst onto the scene with the Yankees as a reliever 2 years ago. He's he's obviously shown he can handle this market. He can handle big time games. He's in the first year of a $22 million contract. I think the Mets can get quite a bit for him. He had a scoreless game streak that went for like 2 months this year. He's been really, really good for them. Again, going back to what I said originally with the Mets, he could also help you out in 2027. But, bullpens can be volatile. Relievers can be volatile, though Weaver has really established himself as one of the best here in the last couple of years. And then number 3, something that stuck out to me last Friday when David Stearns talked to the media was, hey, we need starting pitching for next year because, they're going to trade Freddie Peralta. They're going to trade Clay Holmes. Jonah Tong has not had a good year in AAA. Zach Thornton has looked really good. Christian Scott has looked really good. Nolan McLean. Sean Manaea has actually had a little bounce back here recently, but they do need to go get a starter or two. And why not try to do that now? A guy like a Reed Detmers, who's controllable beyond this year, whose under the hood numbers are a lot better than his surface numbers. Obviously, that would cost you something. Maybe, you trade from the big league team, you trade down the minors, you make some kind of package for that. I do think Reed Detmers is available. So someone like that for the future, for 2027 and beyond, I think would be on the Mets wish lists. But I know for the first 2 items, I think they're going to trade all those guys. I think it's going to be a very busy 4 or 5 days here for the Mets.
Wow. I mean, this is a lot. David Stearns, I hope he has the unlimited plan on his cell phone with all this going on.
He has the rollover minutes.
Does he? Because he hasn't been doing anything all season. So now he's rolling it over to now because it was so inactive this offseason. When I look at this list, all these almost make too much sense. That's why none of them will happen. But I think they should trade Luis Robert back to Chicago because, he said there's no fans. Well, if you watch the Yankee-White Sox game last night, there was 40,000 fans in the stands. So I think they'd be perfect. Send Luis Roberts' ass back to Chicago. Let him get the proper introduction, which would be hopefully booed out of the stadium. And then, whatever happens. And that way the White Sox could send back nothing and the Mets could pay all his salary and he could go back and sit on the bench.
Or you can send back Luis Acuna, who hasn't been very good.
Yeah, you guys, you know what? Just flip them back. You can flip them right back. They need a middle infielder. Yeah. Here you go. Yeah, I agree. Sorry. I have a little bitterness towards Luis Robert after he said the comments about White Sox fans that I thought were completely unnecessary. So, he hasn't been very good with the White Sox and he hasn't been very good with the Mets. So,
yeah, and he's a guy who, he has all the tools in the world. He just hasn't put it together in about 5 years. So it's interesting that's an interesting case. He's a $20 million club option for next year that won't get picked up. He's going to be a free agent this offseason. And like I said, Luis Robert, he had his back injury. He missed a bunch of time. He's a guy who's not producing. So why would a team trade for him? Because he hits right-handed and he plays center field. Those are rare commodities at this point, ahead of the trade deadline. Teams are always looking for right-handed hitting guys who have done it in the past, and he's done it in the past.
He has to play, though. The key word there is play. So who is the most valuable piece? Is it Luke Weaver? Is it a team that's willing to say, I think the Mets broke Freddie Peralta and we can fix him? Who's the most valuable piece?
I think it's between Clay Holmes and Luke Weaver. I think Clay Holmes looked just watching him, I got to watch most of his starts in person before he went down. He looked really good in command, in control. He throws hard. He's a ground ball guy, but he's also getting his strikeouts. He's for me, everyone I talk to, great clubhouse guy. Everyone loves Clay Holmes. No one says a bad word about him. And then Luke Weaver, because it's a reliever versus a starter, but Luke Weaver has control beyond this year, and he's now on year 3 of being a really good reliever at the major league level, one of the best. So I think it's between those two. And you mentioned the Freddie Peralta thing. I do think there are teams out there that think not only can we fix Freddie Peralta, but like just get him out of New York and like just get him away from what was going on there. Maybe a fresh start. The Mets infield defense to start the season, they had Bo Bichette, who was not good over there to start the year, who has been better recently. Then they had Francisco Lindor go down, so they had to move Bo Bichette to short. Marcus Semien has regressed terribly at second base this year. And at first base, it was supposed to be Polanco. He lasted about 2 games, and then it was a rotation there at first base of guys. Infield defense wasn't very good. Outfield defense has been good with Ewing and Bench. So maybe teams are thinking, hey, with a little better infield defense, Peralta will be maybe, I don't know, pepper the strike zone a little bit more or whatever, get a little more confidence. But yeah, it's been a terrible year for Freddie Peralta. He has about a 5 ERA. Maybe a change of scenery. This is a guy, in my opinion, he was sort of advertised as like an ace type when he got traded over here. He's never been that. He's sort of a number 3 to me on like a really good team, a World Series level team. And I think that's how teams probably view him at this point. He's had 2 All-Star seasons, been really good. Last year had a great year, a 2.7 ERA, but to me, he's not like a top tier guy, like elite. He's like a mid-rotation guy, and I think there are teams out there thirsting for starting pitching. The Chicago Cubs come to mind. Actually, the Mets already traded the Cubs' starting pitcher, David Peterson, earlier this year, and David Peterson has been pretty good for the Cubs compared to what he was with the Mets. So maybe they relink there and figure it out. But I think Freddie Peralta could help a team down the stretch. And Freddie Peralta's another guy, great clubhouse guy. No one says a bad word about him. Everyone seems to love him. So I don't think that's going to be an issue at all.
Jorge, you know who also thought Freddie Peralta was elite? The Mets.
Who's that?
The Mets this offseason. They thought he was the guy that I saw make the next progression. So here's I mean, David Stearns isn't afraid of – the only thing he's afraid of is long-term contracts. Is David Stearns afraid? And give me a percentage of the chance that Lindor gets moved.
I would put it at 0.00001% difference.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I'm not going to sit here and say something's not going to happen because, like I said, like we can see stuff out of left field here. I might get a tweet from Jeff right now that says something happened and like blows my mind, right? So I'm not going to say no. There's no chance. I just don't. From what I've been told, it's not going to happen. So things change, but I don't expect Francisco Lindor to get traded. And just frankly, I think it's hard to trade that kind of player making that kind of money, that kind of contract in the middle of the season with so much uncertainty next year about, is there going to be a cap? Is there not going to be a cap? Is there going to be baseball next year? So I think that's more of an off season. If the Mets ultimately decide, hey, we want to trade Francisco Lindor, that to me is more of an off season move.
Thank you, Jorge. Thank you for putting this to bed because every time the Mets come up, it's, Lindor might be. No, Lindor's not getting traded in the middle of the season. It's
also,
way
can I add
too
something
complicated.
else?
It's way too complicated.
Also, like, you'd be selling him 30 cents on the dollar. He's not having he was hurt. He hasn't been Francisco. I mean, as of late, he's looked like Francisco Lindor. But for most of the year, he has not been Francisco Lindor when he's been healthy. So why would you trade him now? It just doesn't make sense. And on top of that, you're trying to win in 2027. Like, I didn't understand it either. Like the whole trade Lindor. There's the whole Lindor and Soto thing and whatnot. That's not the reason why they're not winning this year. So I think they're going to keep him and maybe down the line and something happens.
One more I want to know about, a couple more players actually. One is the other Francisco Alvarez. He's not going anywhere, correct? And then Bo, they're not going to trade Bo. They can't trade Bo right now because you mentioned the 30 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, with Bo Bichette, it's interesting. He has no trade clause. So if he doesn't want to go anywhere, he won't go anywhere. On top of that, if he gets traded, he actually so actually that's not if he gets traded. So Bo Bichette's basically on he's on a 3-year contract that it's essentially 3 1-year contracts. So he can opt out after this year. And if he opts out, he gets $5 million, which is like a rare thing I haven't really seen before with a contract. His situation's weird. His contract's weird. His production, he's been really good since June, the beginning of June. It's more like the Bo Bichette we're used to seeing. He's been really good with runners in scoring position. He's the guy who's up there hacking. He's not going to walk very much. But he's been better since the beginning of June. He's been really good at third base the last couple of months as well. Whether a team sees him as a third baseman or a second baseman in the future, we'll see. I don't expect Bobichette to get moved. He's another guy who could help him out in 2027 if he does opt back in, which I think is the expectation right now, but I could be wrong. And then with Francisco Alvarez, he's another dude who's like hitting really well as of late. Like he is close to an 800 OPS. There aren't that many catchers with his numbers this season. He's a guy, obviously a top prospect when he came up. Injuries, like I think he's had like every hand, like wrist, hand, thumb injury in the book the last 3 years, stopping and starting. He had a meniscus tear this season, came back from that. It's been really good. I do wonder if the Mets say, hey, you know what? Maybe we can turn this into some value elsewhere. We could maybe, whether it's starting pitching or another area that we could use. But, catching is tough. Catching, it's hard to find catchers that can hit, and this guy can hit. If he stays healthy, he's going to hit. Now, whether he's going to be good enough behind the plate, receiving, pitch calling, we'll see about that. The Mets have had their issues with him last year. He was sent to the minors partly because of that. He wasn't hitting, but on top of that, defensively and behind the plate, receiving, he just wasn't there. So Francisco Alvarez to me is a super talented guy who could have some value out in the market. Ultimately, I don't think he gets traded. Luis Torrens is also getting a lot of love. A lot of teams are interested in him. He signed a 2-year extension, making about $4.5 million the next 2 years. I believe it is off the top of my head. And he is a defense first guy, another guy, great clubhouse guy. And I don't know, maybe the Mets do move one of them. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. The Mets are listening on to everybody. They're listening on everybody, not named Juan Soto, Carson Bench, AJ Ewing, Nolan McLean, Christian Scott, and Francisco Lindor. That's my understanding. Everyone else, we're listening. You got offers? We want to hear them.
The Mets have the best clubhouse in the world. Every guy's a great clubhouse guy, but all you hear is rumors of a bad clubhouse. All right, so yeah, something doesn't add up there because that's all you've heard. But you've named
it's all
10 guys.
based
Great
on
clubhouse
those two
guy,
guys.
great clubhouse guy, great clubhouse guy.
I'm telling you, add Sean Manaea to the list. Another guy everyone
Another
seems
great
to love.
clubhouse guy.
So like they, it's all this focus has been on Lindor and Soto. Obviously, just you guys have been in Eric and AJ. You guys have been in clubhouses, man. Like when you lose, no one is happy. I mean, I don't know, like. It's the Mets. They were expected to win this year. They had World Series expectations. Juan Soto gets injured like a week into the season. Then Francisco Lindor gets injured the day he comes back. They had that 12-game losing streak in between. Why would the vibes be good? I'd be wondering why if they were good, I'd be like, wait, what's going on here? You guys should be all pissed off. Yeah, the vibes weren't great. It was terrible there and it's been terrible all season, and they know it.
Hey, last one. I'll bring one fan question in here, just throwing out a trade idea. And even if you don't specifically agree with the idea, just to play off where the Mets heads are at. Bridger in the chat. Mets were really interested in Bubba Chandler in the offseason. I could see, although I don't know where he found that because I don't know why the Pirates would have had someone like that available. But anyway, I could see a package of Weaver or Brazoban and prospects for Chandler, who's having a down year. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think the Pirates view Bubba Chandler is too valuable, and that's their thing right now is that rotation. Now they definitely do. They're looking for help in the bullpen. That's 1,000%, and they need it because that rotation is very real, and that offense. Those additions they made during the offseason, Ryan O'Hearn and Brandon Lau, very real. That they're hitting. Esmeralin Valdez, I don't know. That dude looks like 2001 Albert Pujols. Like it's crazy how good he's been. But they need some bullpen help. I don't think it's Bubba Chandler though. I mean, that's my
Too steep.
That's my response.
I get, you might look at a Connolly early moving over in a trade for Curtis Mead and go, oh, maybe controllable pitching. And hey, if you can get some controllable young pitching, go for it. But I agree, too steep. But I like where their head's at because the Pirates should be calling about both of those relievers. Their bullpen has been a disaster all season long. This was great.
Another thing, another thing. Like Luke Weaver is too expensive for the Pirates. I mean, let's just be honest. He's making $11 million next year. You think the Pirates going to pay that? That's not really their thing. So maybe a Brazoban though.
Although the Pirates just discovered something. If you spend like a little bit of money, you might make the playoffs and make way more money. It might happen this year. It was the first time that I'm not saying the whole organization discovered it, but getting permission to spend a little bitty extra money this past offseason has gone a long way. They're contenders suddenly. So Jorge, good stuff, man. Great to catch up. Thanks for the time.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me on.
and give him a follow. Check out his work over in ESPN, ESPN.com, the whole deal. We'll be right back. And here we are talking about SeatGeek and games to keep an eye on over the next few days. I'll kind of mix in what's going on in the news in terms of guys coming back, guys getting hurt. Edwin Diaz was activated yesterday and picked up a save, gave up a run, but did the job. Snell's supposed to be back next week if you want to target a start like that if you're a Dodger fan. Kike Hernandez was just activated. So Dodgers have some activity going here right now. AJ, if you miss Kike dancing or if you want to see the trumpets in the ninth, now's the time to go to SeatGeek and go get yourself a ticket for a Dodger game.
Yeah, Dodgers are always a hot ticket. It just depends on what you're looking for. You look at the list tonight. There's a lot of good day games. Not a ton of good night games tonight, though, Scotty. So you're going to have to really look in. But you mentioned the Dodgers, and for me, Brian Wu, first rookie Suzuki. Brian Wu needs to step it up on the road. Look at his road splits. They are awful. He has the biggest split between home and road in the history of Major League Baseball. It's like a 4.5 run ERA difference in home and road. They can't figure it out. No one can figure it out. And this guy's too good to not be good on the road. So if you're a Dodger fan, you want to see possibly some runs scored, and you get to see Roki pitch, go to LA tonight.
Yeah, that's a good one. Robbie Ray probably making his last start for the Giants tonight. He'll be in San Diego. And then I don't usually vote for this, but actually I would grab a ticket off SeatGeek in Sacramento to watch Sonny Gray against his former team, the A's. And I just want to see what the Red Sox have cooking right now, Kratz, because they've got the sauce suddenly.
You definitely want to see the game. You just don't want to see it in Sacramento. But you can get it at SeatGeek. I'm waiting till tomorrow. I'm going to look ahead. The Yankees are in Chicago at a day game. Like, I know how much AJ loves day games in Chicago. You get to see the Yankees in Wrigley Field. That's the marquee. Maybe we don't have anything today, but tomorrow that's where I'm going.
Yep, and for many people listening, that's one to look at as you're
on
your drive
Saturday.
Home. And then
I don't need to buy a ticket to that one. I'll be there Saturday for free.
For a day game?
Close to the... Yeah.
No, it's a 6 o'clock game, which is great. Get there tomorrow, have a nice dinner, get up on Saturday, get a little walk in around the lake, a little workout, and then go over to watch Yankees Cubs, watch Adam Amin DJ after the game in Wrigleyville, maybe drag Ken there, and then fly home Sunday. Pretty good weekend.
You love the North Side.
I do. Nothing says I love you like me in the North Side.
That's a hot ticket. So. You know what to do if you want 10% off MLB tickets. If you're hopping into SeatGeek for the first time, Territory 10 gets you that 10% off code, or I should say link in the description of the episode. Will give you that code automatically into your account so you can use it later. Are we here? Yes. By the way, real quick, Byron Buxton back to the IL too. Just mixing in some news as we got it. That in the past 12 hours popped up. There it is. Right hip impingement. He's kind of shut down right now. Not great.
Yeah. I mean, it always seems like with Byron, as good as he is, it's like, when is he going to get hurt again? And unfortunately, it was a couple days ago. I think he was trying to steal a base and hurt his hip and is out now on the IL. That really hurts the Twins because I know we kind of make fun of them, but they're actually alive in this race just because the rest of the American League is so bad.
Yeah. Does this signal them selling a little bit? Not like
nope, they're in it.
I get it.
They're in it. They're in it.
I get it.
Perhaps.
I get it. That's their Aaron Judge. Does it signal? Does it say, okay, we're fine getting rid of Ryan Jeffers? Or does it say, no, now we can't get rid of anybody?
I think they were always getting rid of Brian Jeffers, but that they're holding on to, anything else. Even anything else, I would say probably short term. Like it's just they think they can win without Jeffers. I mean, he did miss a chunk of this season, and they were still hitting without him. But this is more of a narrative with the city. Like they can't start trading the long-term assets away right now, or even a shorter-term asset like a Joe Ryan is interesting. Like I know he's not pitching as well lately, but it doesn't sound like he's going to get moved. Hey, we're going to talk about all of this stuff, especially on Monday.
It's always a hope with this guy. It's always a hope.
Oh, we hope he stays healthy. Oh, we hope he's good.
Mason Miller to the San Diego Padres. Trade. Let's get to Shane Bieber. He is a Toronto Blue Jay. Let's hit the inside scoop. It's FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal. The Astros got Carlos Correa back to Houston.
Just like AJ Preller said, if you ain't in the big leagues, he gone.
Ooh, I got a big one.
Under a minute.
FT Trade Deadline Special live 1 o'clock Eastern Monday on the FT YouTube channel. It's when we frantically also call our friends and say, can you hop on and talk to us about a particular trade? So we'll do all of that as much as possible with all the people that you get to see all year long on FT. We will hit them quickly for instant trade reactions, and there will be a lot. Why will there be a lot? Because AJ, there's basically been none. There's been like 2 in the past week. So this is normal, but it seems like it gets later and later because we have so much parity. Seriously, there's like 5 teams not in a playoff race this year. So all of them are like, I want to see how the next few days go.
Well, and they also want to try to get the most value they possibly can by waiting till the last second, right? So every team right now is like, give me your best offer, last best, knowing that the team's not going to do it, right, until the last possible second. So that's also, we're kind of in a holding pattern right now, which is fine. But I wish, again, we talk about this all the time. I'm not huge on the rumor mill. I'm more of a show me what's happened and then we'll go from there person. But that's just my personality. You guys love the rumors. I am not a rumor. I'm not a rumor person. So you know what? I tell people this all the time. People say, "Oh, I told you that." I'm like, this is why I'm bad at gossiping, because 1, I don't really care, and 2, I don't pay that much attention. So I'm bad at the gossiping part.
Well, we're about to do more of that, so earmuffs, please. Let's get to Jim Duquette. Former MLB GM Jim Duquette joining us right now for a little Sweet Life talk. So, Duke, you excited? Where's Tarik Skubal going?
What's up, guys? Yeah, more rumors there. AJ, I know how you love him. You know what? I don't know how you guys feel about this. I'm so down on how Detroit has handled this situation with Skubal. For me, even though, I mean, if they were going to do this now, and I think they've had their mind set on moving him, but not just over the last couple of days, but more than a week now. They just were waiting for the opportunity to do it. And they were worried about how it would look. Then they should have traded him, a while ago. They should have, when they won 6 games in May. Think about moving them back then. Right now, they're one of the teams that has actually played well since June 1st. Right? Notwithstanding the last 5 games where they've lost 4 of the last 5. And in a lot of ways, the sign is they were trending up, and now because they lose 2 to Baltimore and 2 to Kansas City, now they're going to decide to move them. I don't know. I just think it's not been handled very well. You can go back to even last winter. So right now, if you want to handicap it, I put the Dodgers aside for a minute just because they're annoying when it comes to getting the best players. They seem to get them all the time. But you have to look hard at Milwaukee. You have to look hard at Atlanta. You have to look really, really deep into Tampa. Those are the 3 that keep coming up the most. I still think in the end the Dodgers will end up getting him because they just sit there and they wait and they negotiate better than anybody. They wait and they wait and they wait and see what the final price is, and they just add that one last piece that gets them over the top. And so, I don't think it's great for the sport, but I think the Dodgers will end up getting them.
Wow. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen, just because I think that if the Dodgers get them, they're going to probably win 3 in a row. And whereas if a team like Milwaukee or Tampa gets them, it changes that team and their smaller market. And I think it would be awesome for the game to have one of those teams, just because as a player, I'm a CBA guy. Jim, what was the biggest trade that you ever made as a former GM?
You know what? I mean, when I was with the Mets, actually as the assistant, when we traded for Piazza, that was the biggest trade that we've ever made as an organization. So I'll kind of tag along with that. I mean, there were I think more times that I had trades that were this close to being done, and then the owner said no, like trading for. If you remember, Irvin Santana or Bartolo Colon with the Angels, we had a chance to get either one of them plus Eric Ibar, who was their starting shortstop. That was for Tejada back when I was with the Orioles. That would have been the biggest deal, or we could have had a chance to trade him to the Astros. Tejada to the Astros, and we could have gotten Roy Oswalt and Morgan Ensberg and one other. So, I mean, there are more deals, I think, that get talked about and discussed, bigger deals that get discussed that don't get done than do get done at the deadline. That's what makes it so frustrating, to your point earlier on listening to these rumors. All these names are getting mentioned now at the deadline, and most of them aren't going to go anywhere.
All right. The reason I ask is because you mentioned that the Tigers have not handled Skubal very well. How would you have handled it? And what do you say to Tarik Skubal? If you're Scott Harris and you're AJ Hinch and you're the Tigers front office, what's your communication level like with the star player at that level?
Well, I feel bad for Hinch because he's had to answer these questions all year, and more so over the last couple of weeks. And he came on my show the other day and he said, basically, I've tried to insulate my entire team from all these rumors and just have them focus on trying to win ball games and try not to worry about the other stuff that's going on around you. I think that's, if you can have that approach, that's the best one. But if I were in the Tigers' shoes, first off, I would have seriously considered trading him last year. If you didn't think you could sign him up, I wouldn't want to be in this position. I would have tried to, make the team better in the wintertime and then add around it and be, hopefully talking about, trying to win the division. But since they made this decision already, for me, I look at what Baltimore did, whether you agree or disagree, what the Twins have done, agreeing or disagreeing. They came out early in Houston. I'll throw the Astros in there. They came out weeks ago and said, we're buying. We're buying. And I think when you're playing, you guys tell me because you're the former players, but I know when I would sit there and I'd go into the clubhouse and sit there in front of the players, they didn't want to hear about, it was a huge distraction if we were selling. All they wanted to know is where am I going? Do you have anything? That's all they asked about. And I got to believe that's the same thing that's been going on in Detroit. All they've been doing is wondering where's Skubal going to go. And that's just a major distraction that takes you away from winning, which is hard to do. So I think that's the other aspect that annoys me about the way they've handled this thing is this has lingered for weeks. And I felt like the players have kind of been left hanging to ask these questions all the time, and it could have been squashed. And by the way, you could just change your mind on Sunday, and the day before the deadline, say, you know what, we weren't playing well enough, so we traded them. But leaving that out there with all this uncertainty, I think, has caused more issues than it's solved.
Jim, you said it'd be unfair if the Dodgers got Skubal. Do you know, fans forget this isn't free agency. This is trade deadline. Trade deadline, every team has the opportunity to get Tarik Skubal. So why is that unfair if the Dodgers make the strongest push?
Well, it's only unfair if you like parity and you like to see someone else win. That's all. I don't want to, then the Dodgers do we want to see, here's what's, and this, Kratz, as well as I do. If the Dodgers win a third World Series, all we're going to hear about in the next, for the collective bargaining agreement is we need a salary cap because of the Dodgers. And I'm sick of hearing about that too and denigrating the sport the way we have over the last few weeks. To me, Milwaukee does have a chance to trade for them. They have a terrific farm system, and they have a starting pitcher like Logan Henderson that could go in and fit in just fine, along with some other prospects. And they have enough prospects to do this. They tend to show restraint. So do the Cubs, who've shown that they're interested in it. I would love to see the Cubs from 2016 say, you know what, I don't care about prospects. I want a championship again and go do what it takes to get the player. But there's a lot of general managers that aren't wired that way. And that to me is there's been a change over the last 10 years. They're more worried about keeping their job than it is winning games. And partly too, the postseason is a crapshoot. And it's a gauntlet, especially if you're going in through the wild card. But to me, if you have the assets to go get Tarik Skubal, we all know what Skubal on your team would do to help help get you to win a World Series. Like that's why that's the other aspect with Detroit that drives me nuts about it. They still have the best guy, the best pitcher in the sport, and they still have a team that's good enough if they could get in the postseason to run the table, and they're gonna trade him. So, I would love to see any of those teams not named the Dodgers outbid the Dodgers. I just don't think it's going to happen.
But by the way, Jim, I love what you just said about the players, because Bryce Harper came out and said we need to add every single. He got quoted on this, and every single player, I promise you, that has a chance to make the postseason. If you put a microphone in their face and say, "What do you think?" they'd be like, "Yeah, I want better players. I want more players." You know what? And if you're a guy at Bryce Harper's level, not getting traded, of course they're going to say that. Now, if you're the guy that possibly could be involved in the trade and go to a bad team, you might say, I don't know. But hey, at the end of the day, if you're a superstar player and you're a good player and you know you're not going anywhere, of course you want to add. That's why I love what you just said. Yes, because every player, if you're on a good team, was like, please, Jim, GM, whoever that is, get us some better players.
Well, and I didn't have a problem with what Bryce had to say, and most people shouldn't, and I don't think anybody in the clubhouse did. I was a little surprised, when Donnie Mattingly said what he did, and I understand why, he's taking that side of it, obviously being on the management side, and his son obviously as the general manager. But if you're on the team, right, or you're watching the team as often as we are, that's what they need. The Phillies need, and we all know they need offensive piece, they need bullpen help, and they need a back end starter. Like those three things are obvious. Now, I will say that on Bryce's side of things, I don't know if he was necessarily doubting Dave Dombrowski. Like if you go back and look at last year's deadline, they made one of the boldest trades in the sport, right? Picking up Duran to pitch at the back end. That's what Dave has done, and Dave is really good at doing that, right? Every deadline. So if he had, let me just say, would it made them feel better if he had said, in addition to what he did, but we know Dave has a history of making bold deals, and so I'm looking forward, something like that. Would that have made it any better? I mean, it's not. So he left out one sentence. People are up in arms for what Bryce Harper had to say. Like, of course he should be able to say that, and because it's the truth, right? So I didn't have a problem with it at all, and I don't know. Some people seem to think Dave Dombrowski would have a problem with it. I find that hard to believe that would be an issue for him. He's already knee deep in it and trying to make a bold move for them.
I know everyone says they just want the best return for Tarik Skubal, whatever the best return is. But wouldn't the Tigers kind of lean towards the fact that this team still is looking to win? They signed Framber Valdez. I know it didn't go well. Scott Harris said, oh, man, this lineup is a year older. They're going to get better. Like, they believe this team is here to win. Wouldn't a team like the Braves or another team that has maybe big league pieces instead of 4 high A guys be the route that the Tigers were looking for? Or as a GM, do you just say, nope, best overall package? Nobody cares about what we're going to do next year.
In their situation, I think what separates the teams to get Skubal versus not is going to be a high-end starting pitcher that can go into the rotation right now. So with Atlanta, if you want to include, maybe they don't care for A.J. Smith, Shawver, and the uncertainty with that just coming back from Tommy John. Maybe they want J.R. Ritchie instead. The Brewers have Logan Henderson. I know the Brewers don't want to give him up, but I mean, to get Tarik Skubal, they would do it. The Dodgers have Emmett Sheehan. Like that part, whatever that those pieces are to get Skubal, I think it's going to have to include a starting pitcher that goes right into the rotation right away. And then whatever, the next best piece might be from the minor leagues, like your suggestion. And that's how I would view it. And I think that's how the Tigers are going to view it is, all right, so we know what we're giving up here the final 2 months, but we're going to soften it or mitigate that by getting a major league piece that fits into the rotation right now. Oh, by the way, Jackson Jobe is coming back too. And so, between those two guys, maybe in their mind, it equals the results that Skubal would give them. I don't see it quite like that, but I could see a front office thinking along those lines.
Agreed. Jim, whatever it takes to get Skubal to the Rays or Brewers, I'm all for it. Like you. I mean, the Dodgers are the Dodgers. They already have enough. So I'd be. Can we talk about some other people, though? Can we not talk about Tarik Skubal for a little bit?
Yes, please.
You were the Mets GM. What's it like when you trade for a guy like Freddie Peralta and then he doesn't have the year you expect, and now you're thinking about moving him? What does that do to an organization, a team, a GM? Does that just eat at you all the whole year?
I'm glad you brought this up. So Peralta, unfortunately, has been a disaster, right? I mean, the Mets season's been a disaster. The way Peralta's pitched, and he's such a good dude. Like I'm surprised, and I think most people are that watched him pitch, that he has not been able to figure things out and pitch the way he did in Milwaukee. Even maybe a slight drop off would have been fine, but this has been a huge drop off. So if you're in David Stern's shoes, first off, you're hopeful that there are teams that are interested in him now. He's pitched so poorly. That is a big possibility, right? You got to know the player to realize that, hey, this guy with a minor tweak or so, we can get him, out of this funk that he's been in, and get the ERA, which is close to 5, get more out of him than what he's been able to do with the Mets, right? And I think sometimes a change of scenery helps a lot. But if I'm in David Stern's shoes, like I got to figure out who's the most interested. I don't get the sense that Milwaukee is all that interested. I think they would be interested, but I don't care. I want the best take on this. But I also don't want to send him back to Milwaukee. So find me the team that's going to pay full freight or give me the best offer that doesn't have Milwaukee Brewers next to it. Because if the Brewers fix them. When we couldn't, and we get 50 cents on the dollar, it's not going to end well for David Stearns, and it's not going to end well for the guys in the front office. So luckily, they have 3 other teams that seem to be interested: San Diego, the Cubs. We hear them. They hear the White Sox. Maybe another team or so that we haven't heard yet. And those are the likely destinations, not Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee is looking, in a different spot. I think they're looking at either Skubal or Gausman, maybe even Robbie Ray, one of those guys that would be starting, one of game 1, 2, or 3. Peralta, unfortunately, when he was there, he wasn't all that successful in those particular roles. I don't think that they are willing to pay the price that the Mets need to trade him there.
All right. Well, some good news out of Los Angeles, the Angels, is they're actually listening to trades, and they actually made a trade. Is it hard, and kind of go into what that major shift of listening to trades is for a GM? When you call a team and they say, no, we're not listening, because that's the reports that we're hearing out of LA, that until John Mozeliak became the GM, they weren't really even ever listening to trades.
Yeah, well, and part of that, give Mo credit that, he hasn't been there that long, but he does have a long track record of success in St. Louis, as we've seen. Him being able to, but a big part of being able to make these deals is your relationship with the owner. And does the owner trust you to make a trade? Does he trust that you're getting the most for them? And he has to understand it. And that a lot of that is the communication with your owner. I wasn't that good at it. I go back to my days in the Orioles, how difficult it was to trade Miguel Tejada. And with doing that was going to be difficult, on top of the fact that I didn't get ahead of that and just kind of give them the heads up, like, hey, we've got some really good, significant offers. It shouldn't be a shock, or shouldn't stun the owner when you're doing a deal that you've got good value back. You should be having that constant communication. And I don't think the prior GM, Perry Manassian, had that relationship or had let's say the gravitas that John Mozeliak does. So I think from Mo's side of things, give him credit. He was able to make those 2 trades right out of the gate. And I think there may be another one left. I don't know if it's going to be a ton of trades from the Angels, but moving those 2 pieces, I think, was the precursor for something else.
All right, Jim, give me one trade that we haven't talked about, that you think is going to be a move that will help a team win a championship. And I'm not talking Skubal. That's obvious, pretty obvious. We've talked about Freddie Peralta. We've talked about some other names. Give me the one trade that you think will happen that will help a team win a championship.
Well, we didn't talk about Clay Holmes, and partly because he's been on the injured list, and partly because we don't know what you're going to get coming off the injured list. But you guys saw him too. Like the first 9 starts that he threw this year for the Mets, he was their best starter. Like he outpitched Peralta, he outpitched McLean, even though McLean's stuff was better. Now, I'll take McLean for the rest of the season. And I'll take Christian Scott for the rest of the season, for that matter. But with Holmes, I think if you're looking at a team, I don't know if you look at any of these teams that need starting pitching. I'll take Milwaukee and put him into the mix there. With Mizorowski and hopefully Harrison. If they don't get Skubal, that's pretty good pickup. The Braves would, I think, need somebody like him too. He's not a big strikeout guy, as we know. Kind of a lower, 7.5 or 7, almost 8 strikeouts per 9. But this guy will give you 5 or more innings. He was actually pitching deeper into games, as we saw earlier. So I think he's a guy that, as in, let's say, the game 3 starter or possibly a game 2 starter, I think he can help a team get to the World Series if that's the case, or certainly have them compete for the World Series.
Duke, great stuff. Appreciate it. Keep bringing it. Let's see what happens over the next few days. Yes,
hopefully it's going to get active tomorrow, man. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, or not all at midnight on like Saturday and Sunday, which our sport does so weirdly all of the time. All the GMs just after the kids go to bed and they're just firing in their offices and everybody misses it. Man, I can go all day. You know the game.
For sure.
All right,
for
talk
sure.
soon, dude.
It's going to happen that way too. All right, see you guys.
It is Saturday night, 12 million trades at 12 o'clock. See you later, dude.
I'm here for it.
Right? I'm fine with it. I'm just saying, like, we do it at times where everyone's paying more attention, not summertime midnight.
I want an AJ instant react in bed. What? Somebody got traded? All right. Sounds good.
I thought I was dreaming.
I'm fine with
be at the DJ booth.
Someone got traded and it's not rumors. I'm totally fine with that.
AJ will be juiced. That's when AJ is at his peak. He'll be at the DJ booth with Adam Amin. He'll be like, Tarik Skubal to the Braves.
Well, Skubal's got to get traded because isn't he scheduled to pitch Tuesday?
Sunday.
No, he just pitched yesterday. He's not pitching Sunday. How's he going to pitch Sunday? He just pitched yesterday. Yesterday was Wednesday.
Thursday,
He's not
Friday,
pitching Sunday.
Saturday.
He's scheduled to pitch Monday.
Right.
He pitched yesterday. Thursday,
Monday,
Friday, Saturday.
Oh, yesterday was Wednesday. Yeah.
He's not pitching on
Monday.
Sunday. He's scheduled to pitch Monday. So we'll know if he's getting traded or not, because if he's not listed as probable, which they shouldn't have already done, but they should trade him before that so he can pitch and be available and get his team an extra start. But like Jim Duquette said, they have mishandled this for a while now, and we don't have any idea.
Fumbled the bag.
I think he'll get traded Saturday night, late Saturday night. Or Sunday night. I have a flight, so that would be the other time. But you would think that maybe a team gets him and then can actually start him on Monday, Tuesday, something like you said, to take advantage of the schedule. Get every start you can out of one of the best in the sport. All right, let's switch gears for a moment here.
Unbelievable.
One of the biggest moments in our lives. I think now they call it the greatest home run ever hit in Angel Stadium.
Everybody wants this guy's life, right? Like, he's as cool as the other side of the pillow, man.
And then all of a sudden, boom.
I don't know what's happened to him. This is not him. This is not Scott.
It doesn't seem like Scotty. Why is this going on?
It was just all a slow-moving train wreck.
What changed in the window between his 2 World Series wins?
All right, let's do this.
Yeah, doc about Scott Spiezio coming out, called Spiezio, to theaters soon around the St. Louis, Missouri area, Illinois, and all of that, and then streaming shortly after. Scott Spiezio joining us right now. Scott, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. And for some young Angels fans watching, they're like, wait, the Angels were good? Yeah, in the 2000s too. So we can reminisce a little bit there. But first, thank you for the time. And lay out the whole deal with the doc that's coming out, how people can watch it, and also what it's about.
Hey, well, thanks first of all, you guys, for having me on. I love watching you guys. It's a fun show. Makes me want to get back and play, man. Having you guys talk about me. but my body's too old now. But the documentary, it was hard to make. That and the book was hard to write. For years, I stayed away from alcohol. I knew that my goal was to make it to the major leagues, play 10 years or more, and hopefully win a couple World Series. And so I always tried to avoid it. And then I just kind of went down the wrong path, and that's what the documentary. I was starting to try to write a book. I reached out to my co-author Leslie Butcher. She turned me down, but she introduced me to Shelby Kimple, who is the director, producer of the film. And during that process, then Leslie decided that we needed to get the story done in the book as well, and we took a year to write that. But Shelby did an incredible job with the documentary. Some of my ex-teammates and announcers were able to join in making the film, and it's debuting here on September 10th in 18 theaters, and then it'll be shown on Rediscover TV after that. And we're hoping to get it, on some other streaming platforms as well, which I think will happen once people start seeing it. And like I said, it was hard. It's a tearjerker if you see it, but I think it's really going to help people.
Which one helped you the most? Writing the book or going through the whole process of the documentary?
I think what helps me is when people see it and they say, man, that was, I really needed to see that. That's going to help me, change some things in my life. I would say the documentary gave me the courage to write the book in more detail. So they both kind of helped each other, but I think it also helped my dad a lot. I think my dad, during the filming of the documentary, he realized that maybe my purpose wasn't a baseball player all along. And I think both of us realized that maybe God was calling me to do bigger and better things by, sharing what he did in my life, and also giving people hope that there's a way out of addiction, and that they're not alone. It's all right to be vulnerable, and it's all right to get help. In baseball, you think you're invincible, but in recovery, you have to admit that you're powerless over whatever it is that's holding you down. And that was very hard for me to do, because my dad played me tapes every night, positive affirmation tapes. The driving purpose of a winner flows through your body. You are great. You are a champion. You are invincible. There's no limit to your strength, power, and quickness. You have more than enough to win every game. And so that's what fed me, and that's what helped me in the playoffs in my career. But it worked kind of against me as an addict and an alcoholic late in my career. I didn't really start drinking till 32. I never saw a drug in my life till 33, and then I got really good at them really fast, and it about killed me.
Spiez, what's happening, pal? Always one of my favorites. We won some games against each other. We lost some games against each other, but you were always smiling. It was always good to see you. One of the questions about this is, and I get this asked all the time, about the easiness of, Bobby Jenks, who you knew, passed away recently from stomach cancer, which was, from, they said, pills and alcohol, and he had been to rehab, and he kind of had the same story about you. It hit rock bottom, and then he went through it. But people always say, oh, well, it's just, you have everything handed to you, this and that. But how easy it is to fall into this as a baseball player, because it is available. It is there. Now, some teams try to limit it, but listen, we're grown men, right? We can do whatever we want, and we can go to a hotel bar. We can go to a bar on the way home. We can, teams do supply you with alcohol after games, not on the road usually, but at home, you can have a drink as long as you're not driving home. So how easy was it? And I'm amazed you made it that long, honestly, because there was very few people that could do what you did, especially at the time where we played earlier in our careers, where it was just more accepted.
Yeah. It's great seeing you. Yeah, we had some awesome battles, man. But you're always one of my favorites. Um, it surrounds. You're surrounded by it, like you said. It's in the clubhouses. It's on the road. It's in the hotels. I remember being in high school and somebody came and talked about the dangers of drugs and alcohol. And they said, "Show me your friends, I'll show you your future." And so I was very particular who I would hang around with. I wasn't that they were bad people, but just good people making bad decisions, and so I tried to stay away from that. I bought a guitar, and that was my excuse to not go out on the road. I was even exposed to it. I like we get to hang out with some of the coolest rock stars in the world, and so I was even, exposed to potential dangerous situations backstage with those guys. But those guys knew I was innocent, and they tried to keep that away from me. And so, I was lucky to make it as long as I did. What happened was an injury where they told me my career might be over. And when I went to Seattle, I hadn't established that great group of friends around me yet, like I had in Anaheim and Oakland. Guys like Garrett Anderson and Tim Salmon and Eckstein and Benji Molina and Orlando Palmero and Percival and guys like that would, if I was doing something stupid, they would grab me by the collar and be like, "Hey man, wake up. What are you doing?" And the doctor told me, "Hey, if your spinal cord," I blew out my T6 and T7 disc, and they told me I might not play again, and that if I tried to play, I could be paralyzed. And that sent me into depression. I thought depression was fake. I thought anxiety was fake. I never thought that I would ever have to deal with that, and I never thought I'd see a drug or let alone do one. And I started drinking to kind of fit in with my new team. That started helping my depression and my anxiety over the injury. And I started rolling with it. 4 turned into 8 the next night, turned into 16, turned into who knows how many. And with that, I made bad decisions. And as I made bad decisions, it got easier and easier. And within a year, I had, went through a divorce, lost, my kids, and my dad and mom, who I was super close with, decided, that it was too hard for them to watch me go through it. And it just, I started sliding down the roller coaster. I got remarried, introduced to drugs, to powder cocaine at age 33. And I was able to kind of get through it in 2006, by not using as much, but I was still drinking, because it was acceptable. And but by the end of that year, after we won it, I was using it to celebrate. And by 2007, I had given up everything in my life for 2 things, and that was drugs and alcohol. And I relied on them. I was chemically and physically dependent on them, and I didn't know how to get out of it. It was a horrible thing. But that's why I wrote the book, because I wanted people to know it can happen to anybody. I was the dare guy. I was the guy that went around talking to schools from the time I was in high school, and then all of a sudden, here I am. I'm on my deathbed. They give me a 20% chance to live. I'm yellow as it's a number 2 pencil, and they said I'm going to need a liver transplant, but I'd have to survive the next 5 days and then go 6 months without drinking. And I didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know if I could do it to save my own life. And I prayed to God to take away my cravings. That was April 6, 2018. And from that day on, I've had 0 cravings, and was able to get through it with the grace of God. And but not only that, but my liver, after going to specialists at Northwestern Hospital here in Chicago, after about 4 visits of them sticking needles into my abdomen, pulling out 2 liters of fluid every couple of weeks, to where they came out after 4 visits and maybe 3-4 months. Hey, we don't know how to explain it, but your liver is returned to normal. Your blood work is great, and all we can say is somebody upstairs must be looking out for you, because we've never seen anybody recover like that. So I had 2 miracles happen, and I'm just so blessed to be able to be here speaking with you guys.
That's amazing. Talk about the 2 World Series. It says at the bottom, Scott Spiezio, 2-time World Series champion. In your book, you talk about you were 29 years old when you won the first one, and you were clean. Then you were 33 in the next one. But those are the 2 pinnacles of anybody's careers to win a championship. Win a World Series is incredible. Tell us the difference in the feeling that you had in those 2, because you were at 2 completely different spots in your life.
Yeah. The first one was very special because, my dad had won 2 World Series and
because you guys cheated. You cheated, Spies. You guys cheated that year. I don't know what you guys did, but you guys cheated.
We did not. We did not. We were just really
Adam
good
Kennedy
hitters.
had 3 homers. Adam Kennedy had 3 homers
true.
in one game.
That
You
is
can't tell me you
true,
weren't
man.
telling him what was coming.
I was so dumb that I had to have Fredo Griffin squeeze me when I was at first base to know if the steal sign was on or not, because I never paid attention. But that the first one was special. Because I knew that me and my dad had done something really special, and I had 48 of my family and friends there for pretty much every game. And to be able to celebrate, have my dad in the clubhouse holding the World Series trophy, and the way it happened with 19 RBIs and that I had that postseason in the big Game 6 home run, it was incredible. And then to contrast that with, now I'm not talking to my dad, who was there for every step of the way from the time I was born through my career. And I'm wearing his jersey on the teams he won the 2 World Series, and I can't share it with him. And when we clinched it the last day of the season, I was crying because I was happy, but I was also crying because he wasn't there to enjoy it. And then we won it, and he wasn't there to enjoy it. And I think I celebrated, out of joy, but I also I used and abused because I was sad that he wasn't there. And then what the Cardinals did was unbelievable. In 2007, when they gave us our rings, they asked my dad, who I hadn't spoke to him in about 3 years, to come, and he wore his old 26 jersey. And as I was about ready to go out, Mike Shannon, my dad's old teammate, on the loudspeaker said, "Hey, for the next guest, we have a special guest presenter for the first time in history of father-son has won the World Series with the same organization. Please welcome number 26, Ed Spiezio." And I just started bawling. And I ran out there after they called my name, and we hugged. And I call that the prodigal son moment, the moment where I knew that he was there for me and he was on my side. And I wish that I could say I got sober right then. I didn't, but I had the courage to go to tell the Cardinals, and went to rehab, and my parents went and took 30 pages of notes to try to understand addiction and alcoholism. And then they were by my side. They helped me save my property. I eventually had to turn over power of attorney to them because I knew it was the only way that I would save stuff. Otherwise I would spend it. And they helped me get through it. And I'm so grateful for everything they did for me to get to the big leagues, but more so how they helped pull me out of the pit of despair, after my career was over.
Incredible. And I want to save obviously some of this for the book and the doc and the whole thing. So it's really special. It's out now too. So let's plug that on the way out too, Scott, to let everyone know where they can find the book, and then eventually can watch the story there too.
Yeah. So the book is on Amazon. We're actually an Amazon #1 bestseller in 3 categories. I'm going up against Dusty Baker again and Ben Zobrist, which is kind of cool. I think we're both in each other's books, which is kind of neat. You can also get autographed copies at scottspiezio.com. And then the documentary will be in 18 theaters on September 10th. You can get information and buy tickets on those at spiezio.info. And then it'll be released on Rediscover Television streaming after that, and then I'm sure it'll be on other platforms as well. And so we're just so excited. The goal of it is to get in as many people's hands as possible, and the goal of all of it is to help people.
Yeah, that's special, and I'm glad we were able to bring you on to share some of this too. So if it resonated for anyone, please share it, and also please go check out the book. Scott, thank you so much for the time. Great to catch up. Appreciate the FT love too. Keep watching for us.
I will. I'll keep watching you guys. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great one.
You too.
All right. Thank you.
All right, let's do this. Ranking each team's trade deadline activity and what it says about their ambitions in 2026 and beyond. The Athletic put out tiers. Let's run through the tiers, shall we? Tier 1, World Series or bust. It's the team that won back-to-back World Series titles. I love when I start talking and Kratz shakes his head. I'm not even being sarcastic. Kratz looks disappointed. It's the Dodgers. Why are you shaking your head?
Because I'm disappointed that there's really, truly only one team that's in this mode.
Do you feel like that, though? Do you feel like they're the only team that should be there? So let's go to tier 2 here, where we have
No. That I agree with it. No, I'm not saying I disagree with it. I'm saying
I disagree.
Teams should be more in World Series or bust mode. There should be more. Like, this is your chance. This is why some teams don't ever win, because they're not truly in the World Series or bust mode. The Dodgers have been built for the last 10 years to be in World Series or bust. The Yankees used to be a team that were World Series or bust, or they're just not pleased with anything that's the World Series. I think more teams should be, but we can continue.
In the article, they said they would have put the Yankees in tier 1 if they had more clarity on Aaron Judge's status, but they instead put them in tier 2. The Brewers are in tier 2. The Rays are in tier 2. The Braves are in tier 2. By the way, for the Braves, it's been coming out. It looks like Strider might not pitch the rest of the year. Smith-Shawver just came back, but man, that's a tough one for Atlanta. They're going to have to do some work. I know they've got guys coming back here, but try and get a big boy, get a horse. I digress. AJ, I mean, this is still a good list containing sustainably.
Yeah, but contending sustainably. I don't care. The Brewers and the Rays, have they ever won a World Series?
Golly.
No. You know what?
No.
It should be World Series or bust. This is your chance. You have Miz. You hopefully get Harrison back. You have your team that can play a little bit different style of baseball. You got your asses beat by the Dodgers last year in the playoffs. You got swept. You were all happy. We finally won a playoff series, first time since 2018. Nobody cares. You got to win a World Series. And for the Rays, yes, they've been to the World Series. Yes, they've had chances. They haven't won one. New ownership. Hopefully a new stadium. You know what will get a new stadium approved, Tampa Bay? A World Series championship. So go out and do whatever you have to do to make it happen. I'm sorry. I hate this. We want to be sustainable. How about you win a World Series first and then you become sustainable? And by the way, the Yankees haven't won since 2019. 2009. That's a long time in Yankee land. That's almost getting to the point of unacceptable. So sustainable, go win a World Series. Get Aaron Judge's World Series, right? So get to that point, and then you can be sustainable. The Braves just won not that long ago. So they got a little bit more leash. These other teams haven't won, some of them ever.
Show me a team that pushed all in. Show me a team that pushed all in, and show me the next 5 years. We're so ingrained to be like, you know what, there's a 5-year rebuild. And then it's like, we're so afraid of the reverse. You push all in, and then it's going to be another 5-year rebuild. No, it's not. You choose to make it a 5-year rebuild. Show me what's going to happen. Show me what happened after 2009 because of the CC Sabathia trade. Michael Brantley was going to keep the Brewers afloat in 2009, 10, 11, 12. They chose to get rid of guys.
He was also the throw-in.
Is what?
He was the throw-in too. He wasn't even the main piece. Like he wasn't.
Yeah, it was Laporta. Laporta was the one that was
how's
Laporta.
Matt
I played against
doing?
him. I played against him. Jason Donald. No, Jason Donald wasn't on that. He was.
No, but they were worried about trading Laporta, and they did it. And how did it go?
Laporta was the one.
So that's what I mean. when people bring this up, because I just spent a weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Milwaukee, everybody from the people working for the Brewers to people working at the airport to fans in the stadium, I kept asking, what do you think the Brewers need? And they're like, I don't know. I just want a World Series. I want them to want the World Series as badly as we do. And I think it's time. They've experienced the playoffs. Nito, gang, that community is going to come out and support this baseball team no matter what happens. They've built this sustainability. It's time to push and to be remembered forever. That 82 team that went to the World Series, like, they're remembered forever. Shoot, I played for 4 months for a team, 25-year reunion. They invited me back. And we got close to making it to the World Series. You win a World Series, it will change the landscape of Brewers fandom and I think the franchise.
I think this part for clarity is important because, some fans have been trained to look at their teams like a portfolio, and the Brewers are a perfect case of a team that's done a brilliant job of building a great baseball team in the regular season, but also one of the best farm systems in the sport. If you pluck a few away from their top 15, they're going to be okay. Also, save your comment about Jesus Mate. It does not require a Jesus Mate to get even a Tarik Skubal. That is a fact. You can get past Jesus Mate. They're not trading him. That's their best prospect. He's in some worlds the number one prospect in the sport right now. You don't need to do that. So save that comment saying we're not trading Mate. I'm good. I'm with you. But there's plenty left in the cupboard for them to trade to pull this off. And if anything, there's a little bit of a logjam there, which is a great problem. It's the perfect time to make this trade. AJ smashed the Orioles for a few years for holding, and then they kind of missed the window. And I know you have too, Kratz. So don't do that. I think they will do more. I think they learned from last year. Like, oh wow, we ended up with the best record in baseball. We knew we were going to end up well. We didn't realize we were going to end up that well. And if you look back, they did essentially nothing at the deadline. All right, so let's get to the tier 3. Can we make noise in October? That includes the Phillies, the Cubs, the Red Sox, the Guardians, and the Mariners. They specifically point out a team like the Phillies for the age, Kratz, of some of their players and how there's more sense of urgency. And we've talked about that for years, and there should be more of a sense of urgency for a team like that. They actually pointed out the Cubs for their age too, with some of their players. I'm not as worried about the Cubs, looking at players getting past their prime yet. But then they said for Cleveland, it's always the same story. They need offense. And they said, yes, the Mariners and Red Sox, if you look at those two teams before the season started and you fell asleep and then you wake up right now, you'd be like, oh man, that's not great. But they still think that those two teams can rise through the noise. And in order to do that, they need to supplement their roster.
Yeah. Phillies, yes. The Phillies, it should be World Series or bust. Sorry, Kratz. It should be. It should be.
Agree.
I mean, yes. The Red Sox every year used to be World Series or bust until they won all those World Series. Now it's like, oh, well, we need to spend money in Liverpool and the soccer team. And we need to have the LeBron James make money over in wherever he's playing in Philadelphia, right? The Guardians are not going to do it. We all know that. The Mariners are the interesting one. The ownership probably won't let Jerry DiPoto do it. The Cubs have all the resources in the world. It should be World Series or bust for them every year. I don't know. Can we make noise in October? That's what's funny. The Cubs, because they won in 2016 10 years ago, are like, oh, we won 10 years ago. We have 98 years until we have to worry about winning or whatever it is, right? Because we just won 10 years ago. But they should be World Series or bust because they have the resources. They are the Chicago Cubs. They have Wrigley. They have Wrigleyville. They have all the stuff that comes with it. They have the hotel the other teams stay in. So other teams pay them to stay in a hotel that they own, right? So, I mean, where are we hung up here, Cubs? Like, that's the thing. Like, there are some teams on this list that and by the way, I said that about the Rays and the Brewers. You know what those teams have over the Mariners? They've been to a World Series. The Mariners have never even been to a World Series.
But hey, it's not bust. It's not World Series or bust. Don't worry about it. Nope. We're going to definitely create, because we have Cade Anderson coming in, we're going to create 5 more starting pitchers and not add to this team. I think the Mariners, of people on this list, I think the Mariners have done – they did their heavy lifting in the offseason. Now it's time for the players to go. I think the Red Sox we're like, you know what? We think pitching is going to get the job done. I think the Cubs have built their team on defense. I think the Phillies are the one on this list. I think it's a clear delineation that it is now. The Red Sox will be around. The Guardians will always continue to surprise people and make a run because they have Jose Ramirez. And I think the Mariners do create pitching, but the Phillies, it's now. The Phillies is now. Now, could they win it again next year? Absolutely. Are they going to need to make an adjustment? Absolutely. You don't create the worst OPS plus from an outfield core and expect, hey, you know what, we're gonna be fine. You don't have two guys with over an 800 OPS going into the month of August and say, we're fine. There has to be a big change, and I'm really surprised that the hitting coach is still around because it's the same things over and over again. And I don't know that the answer in the lineup is out there at the trade deadline because they don't have enough pieces to add to it. So they're a very intriguing team in that sense.
Yeah, they're going to do things, but it's not easy right now to find the offense that you're looking for. Some years it is. Some years you're like, oh, that player went for that. It seems a little bit more difficult, especially righty hitting. Yeah, some teams that are looking for a right-handed bat are going to have to just say, you know what? It's got to be a left-handed bat. We'll have a little less balance in the lineup, but there's just not enough out there. There just is not enough there right now in terms of right-handed pop that's available.
And you're hoping. They're gonna bring somebody in for the Phillies because they don't have enough in the minor league system. You're gonna hope that person does well. You bring in a Dalton Varsho. I hope he does well. Like he had some really good spurts last year. He hasn't done well this year. Maybe water levels out. I think that's the positive spin they'll put on it. But again, it's another lefty. He punches out a little bit. He runs the bases better than some of the guys. So there's positives, but it's not this Byron Buxton, Mike Trout type of move.
Yeah, one thing I want to be clear about is this isn't like a call out, oh, this team should spend money. It's just you should do things at the trade deadline that are painful in order to improve your team. That's what it is. Like, sure, you're going to take on the money of a player coming through, but it's the last 2 months of their salary. It's more about actually trading away prospects and not prospect hugging. And also there's a delineation with who you value as your top guys and then not being concerned about every single prospect, right? Like, hey, these are the 2 or 3 we have circled, but the team can choose from these other 7 or 8 in our top 10. Like that, you can't hug them all.
Scott, I looked at it more from the fans' point of view. What are the fans? How are the fans reacting to this? Like this is the athletics, what there says about their ambitions. But I'm talking about the fans, what the fans think, right? The teams that we talked about that said should be all in are teams that have fans that want to win. They're rabid. I mean, listen, you say what you want about the Rays in their fan base, but they have a good fan base. It's like Oakland's old fan base. They have 10 to 15,000 that are pretty solid. Okay. But then you get to Cleveland, who we know comes out in the postseason, right? You get to Seattle, they pack it every year, right? I mean, these are teams, the Brewers, they pack every game. So these are fan bases that want and need to win. And then we can obviously bring up the Yankees. The Yankees fans are so used to winning. It's almost been 20 years since they won that. We're talking, the 80s for the Yankees, right? When they didn't win for all those years, we're back in the middle of it again.
What about tier 4? The title is this really worth it? And 2 of the teams they pointed out in the article were the Twins and the Pirates. And my answer to the Pirates, AJ, is a resounding yes. This is worth it. If you make it to the postseason, it's a win. Agree?
Yes. I mean, the Rangers just won, so, they're a little bit different. But Padres, again, never won a World Series, right? Astros, they've won. They're fine. They can do without. The Tigers haven't won since 84, right? The Blue Jays, they're not doing anything this year. The D-backs, I don't know if they have enough to win the World Series. But a team like the Pirates, are you kidding me? Yes, they haven't been to the postseason in so long, and all we heard about was how miserable it is there. Well, they have a chance to get in. You go for it. I'm sorry. You go for it.
Yeah, I think on this list, I think they're the one team that has the least but most glaring hole to fill. I think if you talk about getting to the postseason, awesome story, great if the Pirates make it. They'll show up in all black. But you start game 1 with Paul Skeens, Braxton Ashcraft, Mitch Keller. Okay, you're set. they improved this offense, whether people believed it was going to happen or not. This offense is the real deal. Brian Reynolds doesn't have to carry the load. As Merlin Valdez is hitting dingers, I think he is like 1,000 OPS right now. They have Brandon Lau, Ryan O'Hearn. They have pieces in that lineup. To me, this is when they push with somebody to be able to anchor two somebodies, maybe even a third somebody to anchor that bullpen.
Yeah. We've said this since our show existed. Sometimes a team's like, we're good, but we're 1 year away. And then that next year, two of your starters go down. And then you're like,
Orioles.
We're screwed.
Orioles, the first year they brought
fast.
up Adley Rutschman. And the Pirates, this could happen for the Pirates. The reason it could happen for the Pirates is because what is the cheapest out of all those three categories, the cheapest player to acquire? Bullpen pieces. I mean, even if a guy's making $4 million, you're paying for a third of the $4 million. You know what? We can handle this. So this is where they need to strike. They need to strike, and they need to get two or three pieces to put in that bullpen.
Yep. The last tier we should show, the other ones are not in it. So the last tier we should show is tier 5, where this one might hurt AJ a little bit, but it's really fun. It's talking about how you're in it, but maybe wouldn't mind dropping some games to make it an easier decision, right? Like Cardinals have dropped off a little bit. Nats are still pretty in the mix. I mean, these teams are all in the mix. Like they're
Nats aren't going for it. We can eliminate them. We know the Marlins aren't going to do anything. Like, why are they even on this list? They're in the we don't want to pay anybody $1 range, right? So we know they ain't in. The one is 20. The White Sox. All I've heard is the White Sox are going to do this and do that. Jim Bowden said it yesterday. Bob Nightingale doesn't believe it, but I believe they're going to do something. It might be smaller moves, but they can win this division. It's a winnable division. And for a team that lost 100 games in a row, I'm not saying World Series or bust, but they should be in the is it worth it or not? 1,000,000% it's worth it because your fan base has been showing out. Check out the numbers of the fans that have been at the Yankees games. And since they've been in first place, the people of Chicago are getting behind this team. They like this team. They think this team is fun to watch. Add to it and make it better and take your shot.
And it's we know we're a year early category, by the way, for tier 5. And the case which they defended in this article is that the White Sox should be in tier 4. And I agree. They said they won't put them in until they show that they actually will act like a contender at a trade deadline. But
to
to
me,
AJ? But to me, AJ, aren't the White Sox in the same range as the Pirates, where they're both around the same chance of making the playoffs and should be adding so that they can at least get themselves back into the mix there? Or you think the Pirates are kind of like, does a team like that belong one tier up, or don't they belong in a similar tier? I know it's been much longer since the Pirates made the playoffs, but do you know what I'm saying?
To me, yes, I understand what you're saying, but to me, the difference is the Pirates are in a tougher national league, okay? And you got to face the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Braves, the Brewers, the Cubs. Okay, fine. Now, can you win the World Series if you run Skeens and Ashcraft and Keller and Bubba Chandler figures out and you get some bullpen help? I don't know, but you have a pretty good chance. The thing about the White Sox is the American League is down. We keep saying it over and over again. You get in, and listen, Sean Burke has been really good. Davis Martin will figure it out, right? They have some offense in Murakami and Antonacci and both Montgomery boys. They need to find a catcher. That's the thing for me. If Kyle Teal, we don't know when he's coming back. Edgar Quiro, not the answer. Tony Romo, I know his name's not Tony Romo. Drew Romo, not the answer, right? As a long-term catcher, everyday guy. What's that?
Tony Romo's in some trouble.
Yeah, he's fine. He'll be fine. He'll figure. I mean, I love when he said, "Am I in trouble?" And the officer said, "Turn around," and he's like, "Oops, I guess I am," which was pretty funny. Here he goes, "Did I pass?" But we don't need to get into that. Yeah, but I mean, I'm sorry, and you need a starting pitcher. I think they've kind of figured out the back end, the White Sox with Taylor and some of the other guys they run out and got Sir Anthony Dominguez out of the 9th inning rule. But you need another starter and a catcher. Those are the two biggest needs for me for the White Sox. Now, what that move is, Foster Griffin, that would be a good move for the White Sox, someone like that. And as far as catcher goes, I don't know, because I just don't know what catcher will be traded. I mean, Hunter Goodman would be nice, but then you hurt Kyle Teal's value, right? So it's got to be a right-handed hitting. I don't want to say a backup, but a backup that could play every day.
Tyler Stevenson. Tyler Stevenson would be good. But AJ, what you just said, the American League is bad. I think we all can agree with that. So does that bode to the point of why they're in the tier that they're in?
Yes. Well, I think because people look at the division and the league that they're in and say, oh, wow, you can actually maybe make some noise this year, White Sox. And they have made noise. So they deserve credit for that. But I always listen. It's like what we talked about with Jim Duquette. As a former player, you always want the team in the team either you root for or the team that you're on to do something to help your team take that next step. And I think that's what White Sox fans are looking for, because they want to see the White Sox take the next step, because they've dealt with the crap for the last 3 years of losing 100 games and the promise of we have this guy coming. Well, guess what? If it's a year early, so what? It's still there for the taking if you want it.
Yeah, you got to embrace the year early thing. 'Cause sometimes the window, this is the consistency with the window. It almost always, your winning window starts earlier than you expected and ends earlier than you expected.
But you have to be ready to pounce. You have to be ready to pounce when that. I look at the Cubs when they won, right? And as much as we all know that I love the Cubs, but I'll give them credit. I'll give Theo and that front office credit. When it came time, they were ready. They already had a deal. They already had Lester there, right? They already had Lackey there. 2015, boom. And then 2016 came, and it was like, oh, we caught lightning in a bottle. We can win this whole thing. And then they were like expected to have this long, long window of winning, and they never came close again. So if you have that chance, you got to take it.
There is a rhetoric in front offices about sustainable winning product that actually is publicly stated frequently these days in the offseason. And I don't know, if I'm a fan, I'm like, can you just say I want to win a World Series title? Like, you don't have to say I want to win a World Series, but then we might suck for 5 years. But every fan base would take that. So the sustainable winning product, I'm good. If it's your year, and yes, I know we've picked on teams like the Rays and Brewers, but yes, you can do both. And actually, you know who's done this pretty well in terms of the trades? AJ Preller wheels and deals, and sometimes he's traded away some big guys. And then he does a nice job of replenishing. And I know it's getting a little barren, but he bets on himself to replenish again. And that's how he's able to make these big trades, right? Mason Miller's not the most expensive guy. He was the most expensive guy prospect-wise last year, giving up someone like Leo DeVries. If he turns into a star, okay. But you got the best closer in baseball, like by far.
But where did Leo DeVries come from? He came from the minor league system, which just returns and regurgitates more prospects.
Yep,
yes.
Exactly. So I love it. I'm with you. So it's fun playing the tiers. And of course, we're going to be pushy, but I think fans need to make sure that they feel pushy about a team that is in contention. Hey, reminder, we have new FT shop, foulterritoryshop.com, has player licensed gear. That includes the Beno Rose Con Pollo shirt, Bryce Harper shirt, Shohei shirt, The Miz, and much more. Jordan Walker's on there. I like that Murakami one for you, AJ. That one, that might be a gift coming for you very soon, AJ. Look out for it. PCA, Drake Baldwin, the whole deal. We're going to ship those out to some friends. So look out for them on foulterritoryshop.com. And let's do some locks. Sorry, guys. My bad. I'm sorry.
Nice 1800 piece for us, Scotty. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
You rarely let us down.
I really feel bad about it too. It's just, I don't feel like I'm in, I'm trying to be real about it. Like, I don't feel like I'm in a great place right now. Sometimes I feel it, and I'm pretty streaky, but everybody else just smashed. So AJ, Kratz, and Pat, great job last night. Somebody was complaining to us, AJ, like, oh, why don't you pick other props when you're doing props besides K props? I'm like, well, because we're good at K props. We have two catchers. I'm like,
well, because K props are the ones that we can win. And if you look at Kratz's winnings, he knows what he's doing. So, and plus, to be honest with you, I don't know. I trust those the most usually. Yes. I think Kratz probably feels the same way.
Yeah. Some people are really good at finding hits and matchups and all of that, but this particular group is very good at finding K props. So let them sizzle the way they should sizzle. AJ, what are you doing tonight?
I got a big one today. Hopefully this gets me back in the green with everyone else. So I'm going Red Sox money line because they're playing the A's. Sonny Gray's pitching. I think they're going to win. They're 15 and I forget what they're 22-3 over their last 25, something crazy like that. And I'm going. This is funny. Going over 8.5 Mariners Dodgers because Brian Woo's road struggles. Suzuki's going to give up a couple homers, so that seems like a low number, 8.5. And then last but not least, this is where you guys are going to say no chance. Grant Holmes, who's pitching for the Braves, under 15.5. He pitches 5 innings every time out. It is legit 5 innings, 5 innings, 5 innings, 5 innings, 5 innings. I know they had a doubleheader yesterday, but Sale went deep into the game. He goes 5 innings every time. So I'm doing that under 15.5, and that gets me to plus 349.
Ooh, 349. Very nice. I like the Holmes idea. I'm going to tell that one at least. Kratz, what are you doing with your ladder?
And the Nats can swing it, so I don't see why that's wrong. So if you don't like my K-props, I'll give you a little extra information, okay? So Woo, while he may not do real well on the road, 13 out of his last 13 starts, he struck out 4 or more. So we're going 4 strikeouts for Brian Woo. And then we have Robbie Ray is 15 for his last 21 4 or more strikeouts. So it's 4 strikeouts plus 4 strikeouts equals minus 141. We're putting yesterday's winnings plus the original $50 for step 2 of the ladder. So it's $83 today, and we'll keep going up to 1,000.
Nice. And Kratz already has won a ladder this year. And you only had one time that you fell off the ladder, right? You did a ladder, you fell off, then you twice you fell off, and then you got up. Okay. That's still good. Because I follow some other ladders online, and there's a lot of falling until we win. So your fall rate's pretty good right now. I'll go with the Red Sox run line. I forgot that one, actually. I like AJ's call out with Holmes, but I also like the Red Sox to win tonight. I've got the run line on them to get myself to minus 110. Sonny Gray against one of his old teams, and out in Sacramento, 2 teams going in completely opposite directions, plus a bullpen game for the A's on a bad bullpen against a Red Sox team that's hitting. I'll take my chances there. So 110 to win 100 on that one. Those are your locks of the day. 3 really unique ones, like a bougie parlay from AJ. You've got the ladder challenge with Kratz, and I'm more of like your basic, money line, run line piece tonight, going with the run line. And you might be able to get a little extra something if you're in the BetMGM app and you swing for a daily shot to win bonuses, boost tokens, the whole deal. It's a little game in the BetMGM app. And if you are successful with a hit, depending on the type of hit, you could win prizes like bonus bets, odds boost tokens, parlay boost tokens, etc. Go check it out. You can play once a day in there. Gambling problem or concern, there's help. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. A few little notes on our way out. I know, AJ, you've been watching that Yankees-White Sox series. Defensively, the Yankees had a little problem yesterday.
Okay, as a former catcher, I'm just going to say this. And I know things happen fast in the big leagues, Kratz. With 2 outs, and I tell my son this all the time, with 2 outs, if you're going to backpick a guy, unless you're absolutely – here's the thing. Unless your pitcher's in an awful jam, right, Kratz? Like an awful jam, it's an inning, they're 30 pitches in, and the bases are loaded, and you can steal an out and get him out of the inning quickly, make that throw. Other than that, there's no situation where I'm throwing the ball to try to pick a guy off, especially at third base when he's the tying run. They have to get a hit and earn that run. You cannot just I watched this live, and I literally was like, I do not know what just happened. I don't know why he threw the ball. I know McMahon broke. I don't know why McMahon broke, if he was deking, but that throw was just completely – that whole play was a disaster. It cost him a game. I was happy because I'm a White Sox fan, but wow, I cannot believe that they made that throw. And if you haven't seen it, you're just going to have to Google it. The catcher tries to throw. It looked like he wasn't ready to throw. And again, 2 outs, Kratz, you cannot throw the ball.
I'll even go on top of that. What I tell catchers and I tell my team, there's 2 outs in the game. The runner on third, especially young kids, especially high school kids, they're like, oh, runner on third. Oh, my gosh. Block the ball. Honestly, I don't even care if we're up. I think it was 2-0 count right there. I don't care if he can't find the strike zone. I have an opportunity to walk 2 guys and still get 3-0 on another batter, and we're still not losing the game. Like, I am not picking off. Who was it? Didn't Max Muncy say, like, hey, we'll think about maybe picking IKF off here in the World Series, Game 7 of the World Series. No chance. No, you weren't doing it. That's not happening. And I love throwing. AJ was really good at hitting. I really liked throwing. I would throw to bases. I loved picking guys off at second, trying to back pick at first. That's not the situation. You have the pitcher in that situation where you're like, we're going to get the out and we're going to get out of the inning. Aish, he threw it, and then he yard darted it to third. Aye.
Well, get your mistakes out of the way now.
But isn't this always what we say? Again, listen, the Yankees are really good, but they make mistakes on defense and they have to hit homers to score. Because they went like 3 extra innings and they only scored because, whatever. Because they scored 1 run in 3 innings, I think, in extra innings. Because they didn't hit homers. It's kind of the Yankees thing.
McMahon has to say no in that situation. Ali's like, hey, we're picking here. He's like, nope.
Plus, he had too far to go. It was a shift. He was playing shortstop, basically.
We have Dodgers territory if you want it live on the Dodgers territory YouTube channel. Will Carroll, injury expert, talking probably about Ohtani and what's going on there on the way out. Is that a Tigers hat for Kratz hats?
Oh yeah, Tigers hat, Tigers shirt. We got to get it done. Tarik Skubal, we got to get this done before Scotty gets on his flight on Sunday night. But as history will say, that's when it's happening. Tiger territory.
Popular show right now. See ya Friday. Ken on the show Friday.